Hello, America. Wethersfield Police Department are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated and confirmed they use their location. They threaten people if they go there. They're gonna fake more recorded audio and video, attaching people on off their location to fake words in locations, as their roles with male and female doctors involved with child sex offenders, also with male and female judges retired and standing, male and female prosecutors retired and standing, male and female prosecutors, and state's attorneys also, in programs in Washington, D.C. and the World Trade Center, also with people involved with my names, with their kids, involved with predicate acts on and off Central Connecticut State University and Trinity College. And I never had conversations with them. And all exceptions and exception dates are demonstrated that involved. In other words, they have people involved with this through time, intercampuses, intra campuses. Years ago, they had me around on the outside. If they filmed me next to Eric Oliveri and Matt Olson, Eric Olson. Now, there are people tied to them who are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with interbranch Facebook pages and intercampuses Facebook pages, involved with database crimes and identity thefts. There's also a Mr. Neville, who has extended family members, or I don't know if that person is related to them, but people associated with Cromwell locations, all along Route 3 from Wethersfield, Rocky Hill, and there, involved with predicate acts, relative, because they're allusions, no, wrongdoing roles, sequence shift roles, wire crime roles. So we have the Wethersfield police involved with wire crime methods and mail crime methods with the courts. Now, this is originally, and still you could discern how they are degenerates by looking at the areas. Look at New York City. These are people involved with the New York City justice system from Connecticut and interbranch, intercities, worse than interstates. As Washington, D.C. rolls with child programs and, ones designed to train people, and narratives in defense of pseudo-positive and negative as criminal and seditious nature. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a police form, we're not a criminal. We're going to delineate their delusions from their criminally foreign influence premises treatments and identity treatments since founding, preventing free speech and pretending other. So I need a response for them, interbranch, forging names, switching names, uses of their locations, interbranch to fake recorded audio and video. They were recorded also how having been motivated to that through their roles with vertical and horizontal connected on those locations off it, for example, regarding the horizontal and vertical through time, in both sequences, because they're getting over on the simultaneous nature we are. How they're now they have a Tom Peruta and a Peruta family I don't know at all. But I tried to ask him for a response. He goes, nah, like from the back of a video on YouTube. And he's got summary judgment as a theme for that. So I need to know the names of the judges associated with him, because they have male and female judges, black and white judges, also involved with their narratives with all kinds of racially charged people, intercities through time, involved with organized crime acts with the judges and prosecutors criminally involved. And with these locations, like the locations next to Fox Connecticut News, a bunch of them are with the people that are also recorded on off the building of Fox Connecticut News and on off their particular locations with that building. Now that is a building towering over the north end of Hartford, separated from main Hartford and the south end of Hartford by those driveways there, the highway, and the worse than that. Note right after I forgot, Nipsey Hussle was reported murdered. They put up a picture of him on a skate park note, because how they switched in skate parks and stuff like that. They're doing little tricks through generations, because they're keeping, for example, state police, FBI, CIA, the judges, the prosecutors, they're using their locations because they know they can use them to fabricate fake audio and video. They can pretend to perceive things. And note they have physical delusions while they're not following mandated law, while they have been attaching me and others to fake recorded audio and video. Their motivations for that are also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. There are a whole bunch of people associated with the three ends of the Berlin Turnpike, the three spots at the end of the Berlin Turnpike. Along spots along the Berlin Turnpike also, note, before the of Hartford. A spot where J.P. Morgan's body is buried. And a gravestone spot associated with a Stephen Alexander, associated with an Alexis, I don't know her last name, but she's got a mother who's a female, one of the female state police, also involved with male state police, involved with some crimes with child sex offenders, but other natures of crimes, their own. And with judges involved with like a Dr. Shub of modern languages and his wife and his kids recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with all along Route 3 that goes by the state judicial branch offices, note, and locations on Two Route Highway that are also involved with the Phil Cololo, who's also involved with his cousins, and also they said a Scalora family is also their cousin, and involved with the Joe DeMoro. And they have like sexual circles that are like bisexual too. And they have the sense and sensibilities of these people as the ones that are stealing our identities, pretending us to fake locations with them. They also pretend we're prejudiced against them. They also pretend passions and emotions interbranch. They also pretend we're pretending passions and emotions. They're attaching their physical delusions, and they're made up fake audio and video to us through time, each age of fact, shape, and nature, each location, area, and state. So they have houses in my area and intercities tied to it through time, recorded, involved with when bad things happen between people, like the two mothers recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by Wethersfield police involved with them, also with EMS. And with the nurses, they involved with this Leahy family, and with this Marco Mancini with medical organized crime acts. I don't know Marco Mancini. These are people forcing other people's names used. These are people in the background, little rat mob, girl cliques, as men, trying to pretend that they're men. Where they were raised as victims who don't know how to think now. Because I never had a class with Marco Mancini. Now these people that they put themselves in front of you, and then they're placed there, and then they pretend they use such for whatever, so they can pretend passions and emotions. See Jane Austen's use of sense and sensibility, but see, we're going to change it. We're not going to use her method. I have to figure out what the law is about going over other people's like books and stuff like that. But the important thing is to have the mandated law followed. So these are people also involved leading up to in the World Trade Center attack context from Connecticut, interbranch and private tied to them, like a Trantolo and Trantolo. They pretended I had a conversation with, they pretended I made a conspiracy theory to someone that worked for them. Now these are also people involved with interbranch that fabricated audio and video. These are also people that have to defend their roles with going over to war in relationship to what they were in collusion with the Saudis and Kuwaiti with, and against our own as our own. Former director of the FBI is also involved with federal criminal co-defendants of his in a 2006 case, who are recorded, confessed, demonstrated, and confirmed leading up to that case, and since in other cases involved predicate acts like extortion, like their roles with the fabricated evidences, and Wethersfield police call me on the phone through time with fire departments. Then you can't get anyone to call back. So, which is relevant to their worse than just extortion. But their extortion roles are clear as day. Now, I had nothing to do with this Tom Peruta ever, and all exceptions, exception nature, they tried to pretend other. Those are also people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with Sullivans, with the name Sullivan, who are involved with identity thefts and with various natures of predicate acts with prosecutors and judges and with foreign and domestic police forms and military, foreign and domestic, involved with falsified police reports, database crimes, criminal uses of locations that way, no. When you're lying on a police report, you're lying about what happened with the location, no. They're lying about what happened with sequences. So they pretend passions and emotions, and they don't realize that they're psychos when they pretend. So now they have to pretend others, so they have to pretend to be good by speaking about, right where at the end of the whip. That's why no one true is being let speak for the recorded overtly sickly exploited nurses and doctors, because there's worse than criminal incompetence with these medical locations and on off them, and with the sense and sensibilities next to that, with everyone speaking through other, and all those juxtaposed natures of crime that have nothing to do with medicine and have nothing to do with healthcare, but they've been pretending other. Now this is more Joseph Mengele inclined stuff. This is also not by accident. So they've been preventing they've been preventing free speech offensively, criminally. They've been preventing freedom of religion offensively, criminally. They've been pretending other offensively, criminally. Now there is an ILO's kitchen, and there's an ILO family also involved with charities, and people involved with the courts, where people are homeless and they need food. They've been using that to cover their lipoaggressions, to cover their roles with the uses of the identity, the ground locations already in court cases, uses of people. See, the uses of their treatments of positive and negative identity. They can't defend that. Their delusions rock, criminally foreign influence. You think science spoke for Hartford, Connecticut? You think science spoke for the markets? You wake up right now. Respond to mandated law for Hartford, Connecticut, for West Hartford, Connecticut, for New Britain. So also New Britain is a recorded confessed to demonstrate with private officers and their family members involved with the Wethersfield police, forging names, switching names with the interbranch. Also, what degenerate little pig creeps you have, little skinny one. That little rat mob. Who's the one with tied to this? Officer McGee, forging names, switching names. Now they have one who says the only McGee, but they have other ones who said that first. Also involved with the MPO Floyd and with Kolvinskis family, as two of the military police families involved with Kuwaiti families and with locations of the body dumping spots of a serial killer and of Billy Grasso, with people involved with predicate acts with those body dumping locations, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved. Also as ones with the database crimes, further with the child offenders and the child sex offenders, roles with them are the ones tied to their family members and involved with this, not by accident. So there are further houses next to Webb. I don't know this Greg Monday, but people next to him, I never had anything to do with him. He's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with interbranch Facebook pages and with people on off Webb School and schools down, all the schools in Wethersfield, further with some child sex offenders and their family members involved with other natures of organized crime. As the ones involved with a Trantolo and Trantolo, also with CNN and with CNN. You guys are insulated. There's no way to get you on Facebook, and that's relevant, so I have to communicate with you over YouTube. It's also tied to the making fake YouTube pages pretending to be me, and their roles with the Wethersfield Connecticut databases and interbranch with predicate acts, relevant, and with the media ones, and the people on off their locations, foreign and domestic. They also stack the names. So for criminal uses of that's also recorded, part of their extortion methods. Now, so they owe more money than we needed. When they speak about response time, when they speak about, how do you think this went good or bad? They're being dishonest. They hid all their roles with, worse than just preventing mandated law. So New York City, you've had worse than no legal representation as locals, areas, locations, states, and all tied to them privately like campuses. They have lipoaggressions to those spots. Not by accident, before they have each of the departments maintain criminally foreign influence, victims but victim predators. But you have to refer to them as predators because they won't follow mandated law and they forge names, switch names. These are people associated with former director of the FBI. as the ones roles with the predicate acts on off Central Connecticut State University and Trinity College, with the judges and the prosecutors criminally involved with those locations and with these other police forms. So what we're going to have to do is get them onto paper. And what we're going to have to do is take over their roles and uses of the policing of online platforms like Facebook and like YouTube, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, worse than dishonest, and with physical delusions. So if they're victims of education, oh, we're the most educated, we know about computer algorithms. Follow mandated law. Now, get me a response. When we went to the New Britain Superior Court, they were still involved with their crimes then and now, and since before that. No, they were involved with locations crimes leading up to the World Trade Center, as their crimes with depositions and with cases leading up to the World Trade Center that had nothing to do with it. But that and how that keeps them criminally foreign influence, needing to hide lie progressions, needing to hide from and to hurt correlation nature simultaneously inherent active and progressive means. There's a Heather Hansen and others. There are people from Central Connecticut State University, like what's her name? Elena Davenport, and she has a sister involved, with people from Central Connecticut State University, involved with a whole bunch of women and men on off the Britain Superior Court, and locations on off campuses involved further with a Heather Hansen, and with people from my town into Branch, all along Church Street, and from there all the way to through towns to CCSU on a different route. Also as the people involved all along Route 3 with predicate acts with them. Also people on Trinity College, on off Trinity College and CCSU with relevant predicate acts, and roles with child sex offenders with that. And with there's a Detective Samuto, who I believe is the one who called in Elena Davenport with sexual when she was in her business office at CCSU years ago. And someone had been calling her and like making rape threats to her. And then she got the call when I was right there, which they kept influencing me to go there. And it was and she goes, oh, come on, we're going to go see who it is. And there was some guy with a weird face looking, like a guilty face. And she thinks him. I think that's the guy too. Because there's a Detective Samuda who pretended he was the arresting officer with me. When a whole bunch of different police departments and officers kept pretending they made mistakes with the arrest, with the falsified police reports, as the officers involved with the forging names, switching names with the McGee's from my town into Branch with the Wethersfield Police Department. Also as the ones with the private police with New Britain's campus. Through time, since I was a kid, they were involved with a Gill family. And with the people that own the buildings next to the CCSU involved with predicate acts, with people on my street, and with child abuses. A Kyle Gill and his sister recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. His mother recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how they're involved with it. Well, his father and his sister's husband involved intercities, like on off Middletown locations. Involved with them with predicate acts with child offenders, even sexual and even medical, and with falsified police reports. They're involved with criminal uses of investigations and of investigators. Now they are also with that recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with houses on my street with predicate acts with people associated with those same locations. Now I didn't explain that to them, but they recorded, confessed, demonstrated, and confirmed that. Now there is a Rick Siam Faglione who also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated roles with predicate acts through time, that a Leahy family, and that a Brian Silver and other prosecutors and judges are involved with predicate acts with them, intercities, and on off campuses, with identity thefts, falsified police reports, fake recorded audio and video, fake ties to me, and drug crime roles as formal doctors, drug crimes, and with overt gangs drugs, and their roles with untimely death spots criminally. They also have a house recorded, confessed, I don't know the girl's name. She confirmed non-verbally to me that my new and past neighbor, that and how my new and past neighbors are involved with them with federal crimes, with evidences, with investigators and investigations used criminally on my street through time. These are also people associated with uses of the witness protection program that also has ties to my street, and roles with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso, with this Fianza family, also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, and confirmed online, involved with the Dillon family, and with the people on and off the state judicial branch offices, and on and off Two Rod Highway, involved with the predicate acts, and with the identity thefts, fake conversations with me, fake ties to me. And they set up the exception where they made all those confessions to pretend other. Now, these are also crime methods where the media prevents anyone's response to them pretending passions and emotions based on what people say online, which is relevant to their sequence shifts and their roles with all these sick natures of organized crime acts before people say, really, actually, and people can easily agree on what is mean or not, but they leave out the sequence shifts. Now, these are people, federal criminals associated, federal prosecutors with precedents and standards, in other words, roles and uses of CNN also, that show how they can't defend that. In other words, there are recorded, bonded, and focused natures of organized crime on all locations, let alone the most forsaken, which at least it is easiest to see it there, to discern it. Like where and how there are shootings that took place in the north end of Hartford. Now, there are a whole bunch of people's names I know of because everyone speaks through others. There's a DeMoro family with the Wethersfield Police and Rocky Hill Police, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with an O'Brien family associated with houses on my street, and with Central Connecticut State University involved with these officers forging and switching names, with judges and prosecutors, with criminal uses of the campuses each year through time. Now, this is also each year since leading up to in the Trade Center attack context, and since as Connecticut's rolls with it, which is also with a whole bunch of other nations. Sold with it. Learn. So, they also, by stacking predicate acts and then pretending they're stupid, then they pretend people are making conspiracy theories no one can see. They put off fakes offensively, pretending passions and emotions. It's alright if they want to have their own physical delusions and pretend to be liars. But when it comes to follow mandated law, since before the World Trade Center, they've been pretending passions and emotions about other people's passions and emotions too, while criminally preventing writing. Simultaneously, while sickly recording themselves, pretending other criminally. So get them to one name and sequence into branch. If they want to deny it, then have them do it on paper and have them say sorry to the attorney generals and state's attorneys. You guys are caught. Washington, D.C. World Trade Center manifest rolls with this intercampuses too. So don't pretend you have integrity. Make sure we get a response for the names of the forging and switching judges and prosecutors now. And make sure they say sorry about lying about my behavior and their passions and emotions, or at least about mine, about their perception of mine, because they're also with delusions with that. So we're going to have this examined also, because that's also relevant evidences per their roles with all these other nations, including the Saudis, with the attack on the Saudi on the Trade Center. Respond for them now. Because they also attach Saudis not reeling lies to roles. They attach people that like a Scalora family. The Saudis will tell you this. That's also relevant. She's roles with people with breaking into cars and things like that, with judges and prosecutors, because they need to hide their roles with the databases with the kids' campuses that are missed because it's very subtle too. We have all kinds of mental health care racketeering with their kids too, involved with the schools, with the database crimes with them. So they also have that engineered where they need to pretend that that was just our motives, we're just looking out for our kids. It's worse than that. In other words, follow mandated law, because Wethersfield schools are further involved with this. And we have the confessions of unique natures and methods and then them playing stupid, preventing mandated law, and like using the crime method of threatening us not to come into the Wethersfield Police Department. Same time, they recorded themselves speaking other, but they also recorded themselves speaking threats about that, about how they forged names, switched names, faked audio and fake video, put people on fake conversations, fake locations on their police department. No one's watching. Now, so we have a whole bunch of people with New Britain Superior Court with a whole bunch of natures of organized crime with the uses of Facebook and of YouTube who are also just employing people on a mass scale for policing that are recorded, worse than training wrong. They're sick. Their delusions raw. Follow mandated law for them. New York City, please help me get a response from CNN and on time. Because this is since before the World Trade Center. Each year, the courts have been with locations crimes, and they know that, and they're going to be caught because they are caught, and they've been to stay uncaught. They've been fabricating stuff in cases that have nothing to do with it. They have crime methods of uses of depositions, ones I wasn't even in or involved with, and ones I was. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how used for fake sides of correlation nature, for this thing that's intercampuses of each age and nature connected. They're keeping the sequence shifts roles and time you always too fast, too slow to get over on what positive is actually about, what correlation nature is actually about, what identity is actually about. They're leaving all victim predators, because their victims don't know how to react to it. So follow mandated law too for these interbranch. What are the names of the kids if they want to do that? Make sure they say sorry to the other parents they lied about knowing me too, just because they were in a class with me too. Now, so make sure you get them on paper too. I never had a conversation with this Brian Silver in my life. He's one of the ones recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with locations with the corners, with the principal sex offenders campus of that street, and with a Peruta family also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, and a Scalora family also has ones with identity thefts on off the World Trade Center locations, involved further involved with sequence shifts and people involved with crimes and cases with them, and with depositions with them, and with investigators and investigations with them. So follow mandated law for them. And this is not personal. I don't know them. And the Scalora family and people from Sullivan's on Park Street recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a whole bunch of falsified police reports with child sex offenders families too. Same ones, Elena Davenport and people associated with Heather Hansen recorded, confessed, demonstrated where there is a Lowe's now. That location and the policing all along the Berlin Turnpike is involved also all along Two Rod Highway with people with this Dillon family and with this Fianza family with on and off the state judicial branch offices, on and off the Wethersfield police. Again, name stacking. Criminally pretending not to understand people. Criminally pretending people have conspiracy theories. And they started this too with all these categorical fake conversations with me. Now these are also Connecticut interbranch leading up to the World Trade Center, further involved with predicate acts relevant to their sequence shift proven afterwards. They had roles with post-dating of documents that had already been handed into the court on time and time-stamped on time to the Ninth Circuit Court right next to the World Trade Center right before it was taken out. They'd showed the judges post-dated from inside the court insidiously to appear late as the ones further involved with, witnesses in that case, /S, and with their family members, and with FBI, and with federal criminal co-defendants of former director of the FBI and their family members, also as ones involved with predicate acts on off Hartford locations like like Fox Connecticut News, and like WFSB, who are also involved with predicate acts with people all along Broad Street, all along roads and routes. So I had nothing to do with this Joe Aiello. He's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with Facebook, with judges and prosecutors involved with them, with child sex offenders, with other natures of evidence crime, sequence shifts, and roles fabricating audio and video. So the criminal uses of the interbranch locations. As these ones roles with sexual circles, with foreign and domestic overt criminal enterprises involved with it. And uses of that for the sense and sensibilities of everyone speaking through others. And with that, where they're strangers. Even the people I barely know of, like this Danielle Perron, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with people associated with narratives of a tennis racket of mine. And with the Yagman brothers. Anthony Yagman, Daniel Yagman, and I don't know the other Yagman brother's name. And then there's that's right around the corner from the Pandolf family. And there's a Delaferro family with judges of various natures of courts involved criminally there too. Through time with the Delaferro family. Also WTNH is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a Delaferro family and little kids criminally through time on and off the campuses. Now, I don't know the girl's name. She's a Delaferro, one of the students involved with the narratives with the interbranch family members spreading lies through kids to cover their lie progressions. Now, so, follow mandated law for Wethersfield interbranch. There is a Morin family who is one of the mayors. I mentioned on Facebook, it's a Julia Morin. I barely know her from a class years ago. People tied to her were pretending whole fake categorical conversations with me that weren't at all. On Facebook too. As the ones further involved with that. With election spots. Again, with more people associated with the child sex offenders families. Who are also with that corner of on and off the schools. Like that's right around the corner from the Samuel Dix house. That's right around the corner from the high school. That's right around the corner from and that's right near where the middle school is, which is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with strangers next to those locations that pretended other. And on and off the Celestine Middle School, further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with predicate acts, with child sex offenders, and with medical crimes, and with crimes and cases. We also have doctors with physical delusions associated with where and how I caught them recorded forcing a principal sex offender with others then and now further involved with that. And with the families as ones already involved with the sex offender registry, as ones already involved on and off Stop and Shops, on and off interbranch locations with Wethersfield Interbranch. There was also a Brian Bonin, I don't know who sought me out to confess and record this years ago. His roles also with people on and off Two-Rod Highway with predicate acts, all along Route 3. It also is recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved with that. Joe DeMoro family from Rocky Hill and one from Wethersfield. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated people associated with them with the McCord's family. Also involved with foreign and domestic families, with predicate acts, with cases, and with databases. I have nothing to do with them. They pretended other. They also used the deposition to do so. They also use fake sides of correlation nature method, where they have fake sides acting at the same time. We'll examine this. This is what the Trinity must be discerned for. We have to have, where the religions are speaking about law, allowed to speak that. They have the stewards, they have people, they have, we need religious rights. It's all right if someone takes on religion formally, that's whatever. But you have physical delusions with your takes on religion. You have criminally foreign influence natures. So don't say because I don't believe a certain type of religion the way they do that I shouldn't have religious rights. We should have religious rights more than them. They have been roles through time. There's an O'Brien family also with this Kerr family, and with others involved with the religious. There's a guy with the people associated with the. There's a guy with the corner of Fair Lane and Griswold Street, who also recorded, confessed, demonstrated they pretend passions and emotions in relationship to the roles with religions and fake positive. They have no integrity, but they're pretending other, as strangers, who then pretend they know you after they approach you as strangers. Now that's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with the people, with the child sex offenders on off the campuses, recorded and involved with this pattern connected to the other fabrications that have been using them. There's also people associated with Joey Quest, with uses of the name Joey Quest and Nick Sweet, that are also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated strangers who pretended other because they're involved with investigators and investigations criminally, and with the child sex offenders cliques. Now there was a Fred Grisey who's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with location with people along, with medical families in my area, and with Griswold Street, with the investigators and investigations criminally involved, and fire departments, and they pretend passions and emotions, and they have physical delusions at the same time, because they've been their roles with forging names, switching names, hiding from, and lying, doing more to prevent mandated law. So Interbranch pretends criminally that they don't realize that we asked for help for this when we came to the location. They more than worse than hate it. They forced the principal child defender who was still on the campus. They have roles with the wire crimes. There were a Walters family and a Spada family that also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, and confirmed confessions of this Delafair family involved with judges and with people that I never had classes with, who would like time things where you're going to walk, and they would do it. They would make you walk another way all of a sudden so they could do it because of how they're used in the classes. And it was also recorded tied to lie progressions from when I was in grammar school, where you're in the same class as people, you're in the same grade as people, but we have different teachers. So you don't even see most of the people. And the people in your room are they're being put into narratives where they're putting fake things into the databases. So you respond for Wethersfield campuses, and don't pretend to have another election until you fix this now, because there are other political movements, both parties criminally involved, fake sides.